Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Video Creator Show. Today, I am here with Jim Hart, a successful YouTuber with a thriving presence off of YouTube as well. He has an extensive legal background. He's a lawyer and has made good money doing that and has managed to use YouTube to grow his legal practice consulting, helping people grow their businesses, and do it all by the book, which obviously you want to make sure that the government likes you and that you're doing everything legally. Jim Hart is your man. He can help you make money and thrive and know that you are doing it in a way that is official. So, Jim Hart, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today, Grant. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So the first question I tend to like to ask people this is, why did you start posting to YouTube? So I'm sure you wanted to share information, and you talk a lot about wanting to help people essentially live their best lives. So what got you into this initially?
Well, I'll tell you what didn't get me into it, and I think this is important, is I did not get into YouTube because of fame, fortune, or the money. None of those things were on my mind when I started posting videos back in November of 2015. I posted a couple videos late that year, and then in 2016, in early 2016, my mother passed away, and I kind of started posting videos really as a way to kind of take my mind off of the grief that I was going through after my mother passed away. And so I took part in I don't know if she does it anymore. I don't think she does it anymore, but Amy Landino, used to be Amy Schmidtauer, did this challenge called the Video Every Day in April Challenge, the VEDA. And so basically what she would do is she would send us a bunch of prompts, and then basically you would use those prompts to create a video. And so I got through about 23 or 24 days of the channel. I didn't get, or of the challenge. I didn't get all the way to the end of the month, but that kind of got me into the groove of posting videos on YouTube. And then from there, I started looking at, well, maybe I can answer client questions on YouTube. Not necessarily like direct client questions, because that's unethical, but I could answer hypothetical questions that people had about various aspects of business law, things like that. And so the idea was to kind of build a show where I was going to be kind of like an Ask the Lawyer show. And so I started posting videos about that. And after about a year, I had maybe, 30, 40, 50 subscribers. And so I kind of stopped doing anything with it. And for about 2.5 years. And I will tell you right now, number one mistake people can make on YouTube is to stop. Don't ever stop. And so about 2.5 years later, sometime in 2018, I went back to the channel and I had like 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers at that point. And I was like, wait, oh my God, how did this happen? This was not planned. I had all these comments that were coming in, and I don't even know if I knew how to get back into my channel at that point. It had been so long that I've been out of it. But anyway, I did figure that out, and I went in, and from there I started posting. And again, I went through like a period where I posted for like 6 months, and then I stopped again for like another year, and then I went back and started posting. And now I've been posting consistently about one video a week. Minimum one video a week. Sometimes I do more than one video a week since I would say probably the end of 2019. And so It's been almost 3 years. I've been doing one video a week, and the channel has grown accordingly.
Yeah, now you're sitting pretty at 137,000 subscribers. I think so. Before it was after your first hiatus, you said you had 6,000 to 7,000 subscribers. Then you took another one, and then you started posting again once a week for sounds like 2 to 3 years. You've gained well over 100,000 subscribers. And like one thing that comes up a lot is the idea of consistency. And you brought up that, the worst thing you can do is to stop posting to YouTube. That's definitely a good idea. But then I also did kind of want to talk to you about those gaps, like when you weren't posting to YouTube. Do you feel like it was important for you to step back? It sounds like you felt it was a mistake, but do you feel like you kind of needed to do that for your mental health or to focus on other aspects of your life?
Well, I mean, I was a practicing lawyer, right? And I have my own law practice, and the law practice was doing well. And so, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, I didn't join YouTube to make money off AdSense or affiliate deals or anything like that. Like, that was not the goal. It was basically to put some information out there so that people might find that, get directed back to my website, and then maybe hire me as their lawyer. And most of the content I was creating was really local based, like North Carolina type of law stuff. And so I wouldn't say it was necessary for my mental health. It was just, I went through my grieving process, like I said, with the passing of my mom, and after about a year or so, I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna refocus my efforts on building my law firm, and that's kind of what I did. And so I just kind of forgot about YouTube as a traffic generation strategy. I kick myself because I think, well, what if I had been posting for those 2.5 years? Where would I be now? But I mean, you can't look back and with any regret. I'm still happy the way it turned out. But no, I wouldn't say it was for mental health. It was just because, I mean, I wasn't burned out from doing it. I actually really enjoy making the videos. So, I probably am not putting as much effort into making the videos as some of the like vlog content creators and things like that. More of my videos are more talking head style videos. So they're easier to create, but no, I wouldn't say it was burnout. It was just, I was pulled in a different direction.
Sure. And, I think ironically, one of the best ways you can succeed on YouTube is to, if you have something that's already going well outside of YouTube, which in your case, you clearly have a very thriving legal practice, I think focusing on that was probably a good thing. And yes, you weren't putting time into YouTube, but, by the time you came back to it, you have all this energy, these new ideas, and then you also have this thing that you've been working on totally outside of YouTube that you have used YouTube to advertise. And so I did want to talk to you about, like, you built this practice totally outside of YouTube. What ways have you used the platform to increase traffic? I mean, there's obviously, you have all these videos like 6 of the biggest and best business ideas for 2022, retire in 10 years starting at $0. You kind of post a lot of talking head videos like this where you're giving advice, but like, do you have a strategy or words of advice for like how to get people from one platform to your website? Because that can be tricky.
So, I mean, I include lead magnets and opt-in pages in the description of most of my videos, but I think what a lot of people need to understand, and I probably made this mistake when I first started on YouTube. I know a lot of people that are just getting started on YouTube make this mistake, is that I was not, you do a video, and at the end of the video, you include a call to action for people to go and sign up for your lead magnet. Or I know a lot of lawyers do this, and go and call your firm or go and do whatever. All of those signals are telling YouTube that somebody watches your video and then they leave YouTube. So YouTube as a platform at that point has no incentive to push your video to more people. And it's amazing to me how many, and lawyers is just the market I'll use because I know a lot of lawyers that are trying to build on YouTube, and a lot of lawyers reach out to me because they want help growing on YouTube. But that's the type of video they do. It's these static, very boring, no personality videos where they're, giving some advice on a topic, basically giving information and then saying, if you have this problem, call our law firm. That just does, if your goal is to drive traffic back to your website and that is all your goal is, and maybe rank for some, search terms, that could, I guess, work. But if your goal is you really want to grow a presence on YouTube, that is not the way to do it. And so you'll see in almost every single one of my videos, I only have one call to action at the end of my video. And that call to action is go watch this other video that I did that's on a similar topic. Because what I want people to do is go to my channel and I've had people who end up calling me, tell me this is what they did. They went down a rabbit hole. They started watching all my videos. And my response, of course, is, well, I'm sorry for that. But, that's what they do. Like I want people to watch one video and then watch another video and then watch another video. And that's what I'm looking at with the analytics and the stats behind the scenes. And that's the goal. And then occasionally I will do, a video where if I'm in the middle of a launch or something, I'll do a video that says, oh, by the way, I've got this program I'm opening up. You can go and check it out. But of course, those videos, their life cycle on YouTube is very short. They get a nice blip initially, and then they drop off, and I usually unlist them because they're no longer relevant. So that's what I would say. If your goal is to take people off of YouTube to your own channel, that's fine. But I would just try and grow your channel, because if you do that, you're going to get exposed to even more people that might benefit from your information. And people that want to reach out to you and work with you, they're going to find you. You don't need to tell them at the end of the video, oh, sign up for this lead magnet and then get on my email list. People that want to hear from you are going to find you out. And I get, maybe 10, 15 email signups a day organically just from YouTube for doing that. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've essentially taken the organic approach, which is probably the most pure approach, where you're offering people something of value, which in this case is information, useful information, whether it's legal or how to build a business or how to save money and retire, whatever it is. You're telling people things that are useful in and of themselves, and you're not really trying to sell them anything. But it is an option. Like, it's in the description. I scrolled down and I saw your website in the description, and it was there. And I think that's like the classiest way to do it too. I think if you're going out of your way to like sell people on something, people realize, and it can be very annoying. I think some people are good at it. They're able to pull it off somehow. They've incorporated their personalities so deeply into their brand that I'm mostly talking about these big YouTube vloggers, but I think for like most people, the smart thing to do is what you're doing, which is just grow the channel, as you said, grow it in and of itself, and then organically people will show up, and you'll get traffic to your website. And so I guess would you like to talk about what exactly you offer on your website? Like you said, you get 10 to 15 signups a day. Like, what does that mean exactly?
So they typically will go onto my website, and I'll be honest, I am not very good at, I'm email marketing is a work in progress for me. I'm consistent from the standpoint that I typically email my list, broadcast emails about once a week, but I know there's so much more that I could do in terms of segmenting my list and sending follow-up emails to certain types of, for people that express interest in certain things. So I'm not great at that, but that's basically what happens is they go onto my email list, and typically what I do is once every month or two, I'll launch I'll do a promotion related to the membership that I have. So I have a membership program that includes kind of all my courses, and I have a legal course, I have a business building course, I have an LLC course, those type of things. People that join my membership get access to all of those. I have a legal template store, so some people go and find my legal templates and purchase legal templates from me. And then some people, like yesterday, I had somebody email me and wants to hire me for general counsel services. And so I have a handful of general counsel clients that pay me monthly retainers to give ongoing advice and guidance and help them with contracts and things like that. So that's kind of, there's different areas where people can work with me. Obviously the most passive is like the template store. The most active is going to be my legal clients. And then I have this like group membership where, it doesn't take up too much time for me. Right now I'm in the middle of finalizing my one of my courses. So that's taking up a lot of my time right now. But once that's finished, then it's really just a matter of getting on the monthly calls. We usually do 2 or 3 calls a month, and answering people's questions and being there as a support person for them. And that's kind of the way we've done that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So it sounds like the main sort of revenue source for your website is these courses, and you do these monthly phone calls. But it sounds like the kind of most passive income is from these courses. So how did you, I guess for those wondering, like, how would I make a course? Like, how do I know that I know enough to make a course? I mean, you have obviously, you've had a legal career, so you have all this information in your head already. Was it just an obvious decision to start putting that into classes and making it available to people? Or was there more that went into it?
Well, there was a pandemic that went into it, honestly.
Okay.
So I started surveying my list. Like I was really busy with my law firm. I mean, we finished 2019. It was the best year I'd ever had financially from my law firm. And I had a legal assistant working for me. I had a marketing person working for me. I had, and so the plan was to really take 2020 and really build and grow the law firm. My plan was to hire 1 or 2 associates. I continue to get out there and generate referrals locally. That was the goal. And so I have been surveying my list just, on the thinking, well, maybe someday I'll create a course, but I'm still pretty busy with my law firm, so I'm not focusing on that. And so at the end of 2019, I started sending surveys out there to my email list. And then the pandemic hit, and I still remember sitting in my office when everything shut down and literally, can I swear on this? And okay. And literally saying to myself, like, oh shit, what the F am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I have this law firm, and now I can't meet with clients. How I can't go to court. How is this going to work? And that's what I did every day. I was meeting with, 3 or 4 clients a week. We were going to court. We were doing the things, and that all stopped like immediately. And then not even that, but I was helping people. And the last thing people want to spend their money on when they're not sure if they're going to have a job or what. I mean, if you remember back then, people were nervous. Like you didn't know, like, am I going to get laid off? Or like, how long are we not going to be working? Like this is going to be, we didn't know. And so I was like, well, I think now I had like 25,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I was like, well, maybe now's the time to build a course because I've got the time. I'm working from home. What else am I going to do? And
Right.
so that's what I started doing. So I went back, I looked through my survey responses, and then I put a beta launch out there, and I did that in April. And then I launched again, I think in June. And both of those launches went very well. And they were kind of like what I was offering was, so I surveyed people. I knew kind of what they were interested in. I put together like an outline of what I was going to offer. I pre-sold it. And then I created the course after people bought. I created the course, and then each cohort had like 4 calls that went with it, like coaching calls. And so that's what I did. So I did that in May, and then I launched again in June, and then I kept launching kind of every other month or so since then. So that's kind of what I did, and that's kind of how I grew it.
Well, props to you for using the pandemic to better yourself, and you clearly used that time to pivot and like figure it out. I'm sure it was much more nerve-wracking than it's always funny when people and myself are describing, this thing that happened a while ago. It all seems so like kind of clear cut after the fact, but I'm sure during the time you were like, oh my God, what is happening? But props to you for using that time wisely. So you built this course. And I'm curious, like, how did you design it? Like, how do you, I understand the marketing of building the channel and kind of offering value and good information to people. But then when it comes to like a course that keeps people coming back and wanting people to sign up for this course, like, how do you build a course in a way that like keeps people's attention?
Oh, that's like $1 million question. Like literally $1 million question. I don't know that I know the answer to that, but what I did, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it, is I basically identified, I said, okay, what do people need help with when they're building their business? I identified that I determined and hypothesized that there was a hole in the market because there were a lot of people that wanted to get started with their online business. needed legal help, were Googling around for information, weren't sure what to trust, what was right, what was wrong. And they wanted that information and they wanted to make sure they did things right. But at the same time, they didn't have the money to go and hire a lawyer and spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a lawyer to do all this stuff for them. So what I did is I basically said, okay, what are the areas that people really need to be concerned about? Okay, they need to make sure they have their legal foundation in place. They need to make sure they have, an LLC or something like that set up properly. They need to make sure they have their web contracts set up in like their terms of service, their privacy policy, things like that. They need to make sure that their website is legitimate. They need to make sure they've protected their intellectual property. So if they're coming up with a business name, they need to make sure that name is something they can use. And then they need to maybe potentially file for a trademark if that's something that they're at a point where they could do. And then finally, they're going to be thinking about hiring other people, contractors, and things of that sort. Maybe they're doing a one-to-one client services. And so they're going to need some contracts that help them with those type of things. And so I said, well, these are the 4 main areas. And those are the 4 coaching calls. So we did a coaching call on how to set up your LLC. We did a coaching call on how to get your web properties correct. We did a coaching call on all those things. And that was how I did it. Would I say that keeps people coming back? I would say actually probably no. And the reason I say that is I had a call this week with one of my initial, one of the guys that signed up on the beta program, the first cohort. And he scheduled a call with me this week. And I was talking about that because one thing I'm really struggling with right now, and I did a video about this a couple weeks ago, is should I continue to offer a membership, which is a monthly membership, or should I change this to where I'm offering people the option to purchase the course? And then people that go through the course maybe would sign up for additional coaching after that. And it's funny because when you're talking about the legal aspects, a lot of people, they don't want a membership. And he told me what I kind of, in my own mind, in my own intuition was thinking was true, was I just want to spend some money up front, get the course so I can go back, refer to that, and make sure I have the legal protections in place when I need them. And so I just want to buy that course. And then I don't want ongoing legal support, at least not now. When I'm ready for that, I'll hire a lawyer, but not when I'm just getting started. And so that's kind of the direction I'm going, which is I'm transitioning these courses from being part of the membership to standalone courses where if somebody has legal questions, they want to go buy that legal course, they can go and do that. Mm-hmm. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly this is a work in progress. I mean, it's working already, but there's always ways to improve. And I think you're smart to be listening to feedback you're getting from people, especially when it aligns with your intuition. And yeah, I think that is the funny thing about courses, right? Is kind of once you have the information, you don't necessarily it feels weird to be subscribing to this information, so do you think there's more room for that subscription service where you would meet with people once a month or kind of have I guess more of an interactive dynamic? Is that something that you're open to where you kind of have more of a group session, or is it that what you offer tends to be very specific to what people are doing? So kind of having a thing that people can subscribe to and then meet with you in a group maybe wouldn't work so well.
Well, I mean, I'm not in neither of those situations am I being their lawyer, right? I'm being somebody who I'm a resource that they can go to with questions about the legal process, but I'm not actually giving them individual legal advice. And none of my group members some of them are actually legal clients that are also in my group, but they're not legal clients because they're in the group, if that makes sense. And so the way I think analytically, the way I look at this and the way I think a lot of people should be evaluating this is when you start a membership is hard. And I talked about this in this video a couple weeks ago, and it's hard from the standpoint that even though the price is lower, a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, I'm pulling out my credit card, but this is a monthly fee that I'm going to be paying forever versus, okay, here's a program that might be 10 times the investment, but I get it forever and I don't have to pay another fee. And I think a lot of people, that is a very sexy option to them, knowing that they're not going to have to go back and pay more money. Now, that being said, I think that it's the prudent strategy is to offer that course that they get lifetime access to. And then the people that go through that course and need additional help are either going to search me out to be their lawyer and have one-to-one legal help, or are going to say, you know what, I would like some additional business coaching from Jim because he kind of offers that too, and become part of that monthly membership where I can continue to get ongoing help and support and become involved with a community of other like-minded people who are doing the same things that I'm doing, and there's some value in that. And so that's kind of the direction that I think I'm going to end up going with the business after I finish building out this course that I'm working on right now. And I'm on the last of 5 modules. So once that's done, the course will be done, thank God. Building a course is hard too. I might add that. Building a course and doing it the right way is hard, really, really hard. It takes a long time. So
is it hard to get all the information in a way that's coherent? Like what is difficult about it?
It's hard to get the information. It's a lot of work. You have to be very intentional about what you put in there. I mean, it was going to be 4 modules, and I did the 4th module, and I was like, it's missing a component. And so I needed to add another module, which is why now it's 5 modules. But I mean, it's just, you've got to record the videos, you've got to script the videos, you've got to edit the videos, you've got to create thumbnails for everything. You've got to upload it to your course platform. You've got to create descriptions. You've got to create handouts. It's just, and each module is 15 to 20 videos. So it's not a small amount of work that you're doing here. It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess so what kept you going while working on that? So you obviously had this pressure to pivot more to online stuff with the pandemic. I'm sure that helped with your motivation. But I think one thing that stops a lot of people is they're working for themselves, and maybe that's a new feeling, and what they need to do requires a lot of work, but they aren't used to kind of sitting down by themselves and just doing something for an extended period of time, which when it comes to building these courses, it sounds like it is a lot of time, a lot of effort and energy. I guess what keeps you going when you're like, oh my God, this is taking so long, and I'm just I want it to be done?
Well, I mean, I focus on one at a time. I batch what I do. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do module 1 this week. This week so I'll take one day, I script out all the videos. I take one day, I record all the videos. I take one day, I edit all the videos. And then for me, I basically, I upload them to a Google Drive folder where my virtual assistant takes them and then turns all of them into, puts them on the course platform. And then I review everything, make sure it looks good, and then we make it live. So, from that standpoint, it's just, number one, it's the promise. I've told people I'm going to have this course done. I thought this course was going to be done in February. It's now almost the end of April, and we're there. We're almost there. But that's the one thing. Number 2, it's the thought that, okay, once this course is done, now I can start marketing the course. I can't fully market the course and do a proper course launch, do a webinar presentation, things like that, until the course I need to have the course done. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you need to launch before you do the course, but I've done that, right? I've got, over 400 people that have been through my programs. I've got a number of people that are in my membership. So I was creating this as something for the existing members. But as I transition more to, I want to launch my products, like I want to have the course done so I can start marketing the course and start selling the course and start doing all those other things that go along with internet marketing. So at that point, I'll have, 3 or 4 different courses up in Kajabi that I can be selling at different price points. And now it's just a matter of, doing more podcasts, creating my own podcast, doing more YouTube videos and doing more blog posts and doing all those other things that I actually think are a lot of fun. But I can't do that all when I've got in the back of my head, I need to create a course. So I just need to get it done. So that's my motivation is once I get it done, now I can start to promote it. And that's where I think they really become fun because then now you've got the product. And when you don't have a product, it's hard. But once you have a product, now it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, and I'm sure it makes you feel more like, hey, I actually have a thing that exists. It's not a hypothetical thing. And when you're selling something, you have to have a certain amount of charisma, and you obviously have to believe in what you're selling. And when it already exists, I'm sure that makes it way easier to be like, hey, this thing's great. I know it's great because it exists, and I know what it looks like, and I'm excited to show it to you. So I think, just finishing a course probably feels like it legitimizes the course,
I think so.
It sounds brutally obvious, but it's true. Like the feeling of finishing a big project is incredible. It feels amazing.
Yeah. So, and I will just, the only thing I'll say is like, I've got this very, like, I want to provide the best possible service to my students that I can. And it makes me cringe and get anxious when I know that this thing is not done. So it doesn't take a lot of motivation for me to work on this. It's like, I know this needs to happen. And so I want it to get done. It's just, and some people have it and some people don't. But you have to have that inner drive that says, I want to create this amazing thing for my students. And so it's there. It's ever present with me. And I get anxious if it's not finished. So I need to get it finished.
Mm-hmm. Totally get it. Completely understand. So you were talking about marketing. And so once the course is done and you're ready to market it, you talked about, you of course have your YouTube channel. You talked about going on podcasts. What are some other ways that you market your product?
So I think it's there's social media, there's doing organic blog posts. Obviously, I create content on a weekly basis. I do not currently have a podcast that like a weekly podcast. That's something that I really want to do. I think once I get settled in Portugal, that's something that I'll be able to do. I don't know if we talked about that at the beginning of the show, but for those of people who are listening, I'm moving to Portugal in 2 months. And so there's things that are going to be able to happen before I leave, and there's things that are going to have to wait until after we get settled there. That's probably something I'll have to wait until I get settled. And so, it's all the main channels, there's the written, there's the video, there's the audio. So podcast, blog, and video. And so that's the way I do it. And then basically what you do is my strategy, what I follow, and I know a lot of people do this very successfully, is they take one piece of content that they create and then they repurpose it in a number of different ways. So they might take a video and slice it up and turn it into shorts or reels or TikToks or something like that. And then they can, maybe take that video, the audio from the video, and pull that out and turn it into a podcast. They can take the content of that video and turn it into a blog post. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I also am very big right now on using, doing some keyword research and really creating content that I know is going to rank well in that is going to rank, that the keywords are high competition keywords, low competition keywords that are high search, and that you think that you can rank pretty quickly with. And so you just kind of put that content out there organically. I've not done a whole lot with paid advertising. Facebook, I will say, I don't know if you've done anything with paid ads, but obviously in the past year, a lot of stuff has changed with Facebook ads, with the iOS 14 updates and all these things. So ad costs have really gone up. You really need to know what you're doing. It's something I intend to experiment with moving forward, because even if you can get a customer at like break-even point, and for me, for a course that's between $500 and $1,000, break-even is like $500, and maybe that's what it costs to get a customer on Facebook. I don't know, but you get a customer at that level, that's just one more person that maybe potentially becomes part of your membership or purchases templates or does other things. And so then you have somebody on your email list that's bought something from you that you can kind of cross promote to in other ways. So that's something I'm looking at doing as well, but I'm not there right now.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to deciding what topics are going to perform well, do you use vidIQ? Is it TubeBuddy? Like what tools do you use to really quantify what's going to perform well?
So that's interesting. And that I think is for YouTube specifically, it's a different answer than for like a blog post. Mm-hmm. So what I do with blog posts, I use a couple tools. I use a tool called KW Finder, and I use a tool called RankIQ to kind of locate those high volume keywords that I can use that will hopefully get me good results in search. When it comes to YouTube, it's different. Like YouTube, if you are optimizing your videos, and a lot of people do this, they try and optimize for keywords. That's fine. But the only people that are going to find your videos are people that are searching for those keywords. Oftentimes, the people that are searching for a keyword, they're looking for a solution. They're looking to get in, get out. If I'm trying to think of, so like our dishwasher broke like last week, and I had to Google like how to fix the dishwasher. Am I subscribing to that guy's channel who's like, maybe in like California or Texas someplace? Am I subscribing to his channel or calling him up to come and fix my dishwasher? No, but he gave me a really great video on how to fix my dishwasher that I could look at and then say, oh, okay, I just need to switch the breaker. So when you're targeting search on YouTube, a lot of times it's people are going in and they're just looking for a solution. They get their solution and they're done. There's no real relationship that's built with that viewer. And so what I've started doing on YouTube, depending on the size of your channel, when you are just starting to grow and you have no subscribers, you might want to focus on some search terms because you want people to find your channel and they're not going to find you any other way. But once you get, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers, now you want to start focusing on getting found on maybe suggestive videos. And so you look at what videos are doing well and what videos are growing, and you create a video that maybe has your own take on that subject. And the reason why you do it that way is because you want to get found as a suggested video next to that video. Or if you look at that video and you say, you know what? This video is doing really, really well. I could do a better job than this video. Then you create a better video and maybe you can get found. People will find you when they're looking for that type of video. But the gold, what you really want when it comes to YouTube is suggested is good. Search is like the low-hanging fruit, then suggested. But the top way to get found is through the homepage. You want to get your videos onto the YouTube homepage. And so what I do now is when I'm doing my research and what should I be talking about is I've got in my back of my head the topics I want to talk about. I like talking about some personal finance issues, entrepreneurship, the legal issues, obviously, business building, different things like that, online business. But so what I do is I will actually go to the YouTube homepage for me and see what videos are popping up that are on those topics, because those videos are getting the most views, and YouTube is already telling you that these are topics that they want to promote to a lot of people because they're putting them on homepage. And then I watch those videos and see kind of what those videos are all about. And typically, in most cases, those videos, they're going to hook the viewer. They're going to tell a really great story. So they're going to get people to watch the entire way through. They're going to build a relationship with the viewer. And so YouTube wants to show more videos like that. And so I look to the homepage for ideas, not copying what's already there, but thinking, oh, so I see, for a while, one of the things that was on my list was the great resignation that happened last year. And if you went to the Google homepage or the YouTube homepage, there were like 3 or 4 videos on the Great Resignation. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should do a video about the Great Resignation. It never really resonated with me, and I never really felt like it was something that I wanted to do. So it was on my list, but ultimately I never did it. But that would be a way to do that. So I see people are talking about this. It's timely. I'm going to get on the homepage for that. So let me try and do that. And now when I'm looking at my analytics is I'm hoping that my videos are being found on the homepage. If my videos are being found through search, then I'm not doing it right. I still have a lot of videos that are found through search because that's the way I optimized when I first started. But I would rather be found through the homepage. And you do that by creating a really great title, a really great thumbnail on a subject that YouTube wants to promote, and you keep people watching all the way through. That's like the holy grail of that.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned thumbnails as being very important. You have good thumbnails. Do you make your own thumbnails? Do you hire somebody? So for those listening and they can't see what his thumbnails look like, there's some classic YouTube vibes of big face with like a high quality camera and then texts, best business ideas 2022 with a thumbs up as one example. Do you hire somebody? Do you make your own thumbnails? How does that work?
So I have tried hiring people in the past. I was not happy with the results. I didn't like the thumbnails. The way I do it is I will look to other videos that are performing really well on that topic. And again, I'm not trying to mimic the thumbnail, but I will try and take elements from that thumbnail. So I'll look at, okay, well, if this is a close-up on a face, a little bit of text. The thing you're going for with the thumbnails is you want to create enough intrigue that people will be like, huh, that's interesting. And then they'll look to the title and that might raise another question. So you don't want to say the exact same thing on the thumbnail and the title, but enough intrigue that they will want to click on the video and watch the video. And so that's what I'm going for with my thumbnails. I appreciate you telling me that I could do a good job with that. I've struggled with thumbnails for a long time. And I mean, I don't know if my thumbnails are good or not, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they probably could be better, or maybe it's just the topics could be better. I don't know. Maybe I'm not pulling videos. I look at my stats and I'm very critical of myself. So I appreciate you sharing that. But in terms of how I do it, I mean, I basically have a template in Photoshop and I can create them pretty quick. Creating them is not hard. It's planning them and figuring out how am I going to, what is going to be in this thumbnail that's going to work that takes a little bit longer. But yeah, what I do is I take the image, I load it into Photoshop, and then I manipulate the image in Photoshop and create the thumbnail that way.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said about the thumbnail shouldn't be exactly the same as the title as far as text within the thumbnail. You want it to be obviously similar enough to where it's relevant, but you do want to keep in mind like it's another place where you can have more information that isn't in the title. I think it's also important to understand that people see pictures before they see words. So if you have text in your thumbnail, then people are probably going to read that text before they read your title. And that's just, I think, a general thing that's important to keep in mind with thumbnails is, you want your text to be as catchy as possible in that thumbnail, as short as possible. You want it to be big, as minimal words as possible, so that people can kind of instantly take in what you have put into that thumbnail. And yeah, I think you've done a good job of, having it be similar, but also a little bit different.
And one other thing I'll say about that, and I think this really ties in nicely to what we were talking about before with YouTube search, is if you go to the Google homepage, what do you see? You see Google, and a bar where you type in what your search is. Like it's all text, right? And so when you're doing a blog post, something like that, you want to optimize for those keywords because of that reason. When you go to the YouTube homepage, what do you see? You see line after line after line of images and videos that you can click on to watch. And so what YouTube wants is they want thumbnails that are going to attract people, get people to get the click. Those are the videos that are going to perform the best. So, I just think that's important for anyone who's out there thinking, oh, I need to optimize my videos for keywords. No, you don't. You need to make sure people watch the videos and click on the videos. And that's the thumbnail and the title are going to be way more important for that.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And then there's obviously, as you said, you want to make sure people watch the videos and not just click on them, but watch all the way through, because the algorithm takes into account minutes watched. It's not just views, it's how many minutes did this video rack up. You know, if somebody clicks on your video and instantly clicks off, that's actually going to look very bad for you. You know, in 2012 YouTube, that would have been good, but not these days. It's all about minutes watched. I guess for those that are new at this, you do want to make sure that you're not clickbaiting too hard, because if you clickbait too hard, then you're going to get a lot of clicks and then people leaving. And that's not what you want. That is the best way to kill a video.
And an important thing about that with clickbait in particular is, so there's a lot of thumbnails and titles that might seem clickbaity, but what makes something clickbait versus something that's not clickbait, in my opinion, and I've heard this from other people, is if you click on the video and if the video says, you know, how to form your LLC, and you click on the video and then I start talking about, how to make $1 million on YouTube. Well, that's clickbait, because somebody clicked on that thinking they were going to get something about how to form their LLC. And instead I'm talking about, how to make money online. That's clickbaity in my opinion. What changes that from, you might have a title that talks about how to make $1 million on YouTube. It seems clickbaity, but then you go to the video and the person walks you through step by step by step how to make $1 million on YouTube. That's not clickbait. That's the video delivering on the promise that they gave in the thumbnail. So what distinguishes clickbait from non-clickbait, are you delivering on the promise in the thumbnail? If you are, great. If you're not, that's kind of clickbait.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Yeah, it's I think bombastic titles like that can get a bad name because there are people who use them for clickbait. But as you said, if you actually deliver on what the bombastic title is saying, then you're good. You're in the clear. That's kind of the ideal video, really, is if you have a super beautiful, sexy title that is, you would expect people to want to click on this, how to make $1 million. Of course, don't we all want to make $1 million? And if you can actually deliver on that, then great. But if it kind of ends up just being an example of what not to do based on everything you've told me, if you say how to make $1 million, and then you just kind of pitch your course in the video or something, and you're not actually offering information in the video, that would be bad. That's how you get nobody to care about you, for sure.
Yep, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm clearly you know this YouTube game pretty well. I see why you have done well on this platform, and it takes a certain type of person. So I am curious, like, you obviously had a long career before YouTube. You still have a career outside of YouTube. Like, do you feel that there was anything that prepared you for this weird platform of kind of getting in front of a camera and talking? Like, did anything prepare you for this? Were you meant to be in front of a camera? How's that go?
No, I was not meant to be in front of a camera. I'm probably a better podcast person. I don't know. But no, I would say, being a lawyer and being a lawyer in court for, a number of years, 10 years plus before I did this, I think that probably helped, because when you are a lawyer that's in court, you have to think on your feet very quickly. You have to have presentation skills. You have to be able to give a persuasive argument. And I think all of that goes into why, I would like to think I've had some success on YouTube, because I learned those skills, basically in the courtroom and doing those type of things and representing people on a daily basis. You have to be personable. You have to be able to empathize with your clients. And I think all of that goes into, having success on YouTube. A lot of people maybe don't know this about me. I was a theater major in undergrad. I don't know that helped a whole lot. It was so long ago, but I mean, I did take a lot of courses on, improvisation, and I was in a lot of plays and did a lot of that type of stuff. So that probably helped to some extent, but no, I would say it was just, like I said, I wasn't creating the videos when I first started for any reason other than I was trying to get some information out there to help people. And it's funny because I mean, people watch my videos and they tell me I'm funny. I don't necessarily see it, but it's not I think I did one video on how to pay yourself, and it was one of the first videos I did. I sat down in front of the camera. I was wearing like a dirty shirt. I hadn't showered that day. My hair was all messed up. Like, it was ridiculous, and it was a horrible video or camera. I think it was like one of these cameras that was over here. It was like this old, HD camera. And I think I swore a little bit in that. I think I dropped an F-bomb in the video. And I was going through the comments, and like there were so many comments like, when you drop that F-bomb, I subscribed. And it's like, you can't plan for that stuff. You don't know. Like, I would never tell somebody, oh, go swear in your videos and that's how you're going to get subscribers. No, but I think what attracts people to follow certain people on YouTube is that they can connect with that person, and that they feel like that person is being genuine and real. And if you're doing videos and trying to be someone that you're not, or you're trying to fake it, or you're just, reading off a script the whole time, you're probably not going to be as successful as someone who, you do have to have a certain level of charisma. Again, I don't know that I'm there yet, but it's a work in progress. It's something that we're always striving to get better. And all you can do is, publish that next video and then move forward to the next one and try and do a little bit better. See what worked, see what didn't work, and experiment in the next video. And that's what I try and do.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And that's the magic of YouTube, right? Is I think people, they get in their own heads about recording with the camera on, and it does take some getting used to, but I think the most important thing to keep in mind is you can always post another video. There's no reason to overanalyze or worry that your presentation isn't good enough in this video. I mean, heck, you just described wearing a dirty shirt and having, unwashed hair, and you're dropping F-bombs, and you didn't really give a shit, but you were being authentic and you were sharing information that you believed in. And that was kind of all that really mattered. It seems like, and when you're kind of consistently hitting that note of just all right, I'm going to share this, I'm going to share this. And yeah, maybe some days your hair looks worse than other days. Maybe some days your outfit could have been better. But that doesn't matter, because your vibe, your intentions were there, and you showed up, you posted. You've been posting once a week for 2-3 years now. Consistency. I feel like we've talked about this a million times on this podcast, but it's kind of the only thing that matters. Eventually you're going to get there. Eventually it's going to work.
Well, and I mean, hopefully, I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago talking about somebody who'd been posting consistently daily videos every day for the last 10 years, and they've got 5,000 subscribers. Well, something's not working with that person, right? They need to do something better. But my point is so this week, I haven't posted this week's video yet. It'll probably get posted tonight. But part of the reason for that is, number one, I've had a really busy week. This is the week where I was I do not want to do a video this week. It's just, I can't do it. And so, but I recorded it. It's probably going to be one of my best videos ever. I don't know, or it could be terrible, but it's funny when you I went into this week's video and said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and hit the record button. We're going to see what happens. I don't have time to script it out the way I normally would. And we're going to see how this goes. I would have liked to do a little bit more. Maybe it sucks. You just don't know until you hit the publish button. But what happens is, and I think one of the kind of the weird things about YouTube is that once you hit a certain level with your channel, you start to second guess yourself at some level, right? Like when I was first starting and I knew nobody was watching the videos, I didn't care. But now that I know a lot of people are watching these videos every time I post a video, I mean, I want to make sure the video has every opportunity to be the best video it can possibly be. So things have changed a little bit. That does make it a little bit more stressful. And I think once you hit 100,000 subscribers, I've heard a lot of people say that is like a number where once you get to that level, something's going to need to change with your channel, which is why for me, up until 100,000 subscribers, all I did was talk about legal stuff. And now once I'm over that level, I'm starting to branch out and talk about other topics as well, because I'm trying to reach a broader audience. And again, it gets found on the homepage and all those type of things that we talked about earlier today. But yeah, YouTube is a crazy thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
Weird.
It is weird.
I mean, I never know what to say about it, yet somehow here I am hosting a podcast where I do nothing but talk about YouTube. But that's the nature of the beast, right? It's mysterious, but somehow understandable to a certain extent. I guess that's life in general, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I am curious about this person who has been posting for 10 years. They've been beating their head against a wall and they only have 5,000 subscribers or something. Do you know any more about this person?
I do not know. The person that the podcast I was listening to, the podcast host mentioned this person, but said, I'm not going to name names because they could be listening to this and I don't want to call them out and I don't want people going and looking at their YouTube channel and things like that. So, I don't know anything more than that. I just know that was the case. And if that's somebody out there, if you're out there and you are posting daily or even weekly for an extended period of time with the hope that you are going to get much more traction and you're only at, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers after 10 years, something's not working and you probably need to get a coach that can look at your channel and say, okay, here's how we can change it. Because chances are you can tweak something small and your channel will blow up. And it's just a matter of doing that. Maybe your thumbnails are awful, or maybe your titles are terrible, or maybe you're losing people in the first 5 seconds of your video. And if you can just figure out how to tweak that a little bit, you've already got the experience from doing all those videos. You know how to edit videos, theoretically. Maybe your editing's bad. I don't know. But if that's you and you're out there, find somebody that can help you, because it might be something that you just are not thinking about that's going to take you over the edge.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Sometimes the right coach or consultant is you just need a bit of a nudge. That's really it. I think people can get tunnel vision sometimes. Like, I'm a little jealous of people who can just go and not think about it. But sometimes that can be, you do need to take a step back and kind of look at the bigger picture and think, well, is this actually working? Maybe I need to tweak some things. And so, yeah, it's always a weird balance of like wanting to look at the analytics and question, what can be changed while also not overdoing it. Because then you can trip yourself up and like, I don't believe in anything anymore. I'm so full of doubt. And I guess that's kind of the weird, the line to walk when it comes to YouTube. I've found myself walking that line for a long time. But yes, this has been a fantastic conversation, Jim. Why don't you tell people where they can find you and pitch, be shameless.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can find me on YouTube. It's the URL is still under Hawthorne Law, but you can do a search for Jim Hart and I'm there. I'm the only Jim Hart that's got the check mark next to their name, and on YouTube. And then I've got a website, com, which is where I kind of am starting to create as a hub for all my blog posts and content that I do as well. And then if you're interested in any of my courses or DIY templates or things like that, you can either go to obfoundations.com, which is all my courses, or you can go to onestoplegal.co, which is all my legal templates. And obviously all this stuff is listed in pretty much every description of every video I've ever posted in the last year. So you should be able to find it there too. But yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much, Grant, for having me on today. I love a good podcast. These are always a lot of fun.
I'm glad. Yeah. And thanks again for joining me. This has been great. A lot of good information here as well. I like how technical we got. And you kind of shared your knowledge of the algorithm and strategies. And that was really great. So I'm sure whoever is watching right now has also appreciated it. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, viewer. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.